Welcome to another lesson in mathematics. This time, we will learn about piecewise functions. So what is a piecewise function? These are functions which are defined in different domains since they are determined by several equations. For example, we have here a function f of x is equal to, if you have noticed, meron tayong dalawang equation. The first equation in the function is 200x or 200 times x if x is greater than 0 or x is less than or equal to 50. Another one, 150 times x or 150x if x is greater than 50. So notice that in every equation there is a certain condition. For example, in our first equation, 200 times x or 200x, gagamitin natin ang equation na to kung ang value ng x is greater than 0 but less than or equal to 50. So, ibig sabihin ng ating domain or yung ating mga x's are from positive 1 hanggang positive 50. So, with this set of domain, gagamitin natin ang first equation which is 200 times x. Now, if ang value ng x natin is greater than 50, so ibig sabihin, so we will start values from 51 and above to infinity. 51 to positive infinity. So, ibig sabihin 51, 52 until infinity. So, all positive. So, kapag ang value natin ay ganyan, kapag ang value ng x natin ay ganyan, gagamitin natin ang equation na 150 times x or 150x. So, that is a piecewise function. So, if you notice again, there are different domains in every equation. So let's understand more about piecewise function. So for example, we have another function, f of x is equal to 200x or 200 times x if, meron pong condition, x is greater than 0 but less than or equal to 50. Another equation is 180x or 180 times x if the value of your x is greater than 50. For example, if the value of your x is 25, alin sa dalawang equation ang gagamitin natin? Okay, correct. We will use the first equation which is 200x. Bakit po 200x? Because if 25, which is the value of your x, is greater than 0 but less than 50 or less than or equal to 50. So that's why first equation ang gagamitin natin for this value of x. What if your x is 51? What equation shall we use? Okay, correct. We will use the second equation. Bakit po? Because x or 51, the value of your x, 51, is greater than 50. Another one, what if our x is equal to 5? Okay, correct. We will use again the first equation because 5, the value of your x is greater than 0 but less than or equal to 50. Another one, x is 100. Okay, correct. We will use the second equation, 180 times x, because our x is greater than 50 or 100 is greater than 50. So this is how piecewise function is used in different with different values of x's or the set of our domain. Another example, we have another one, the function of f of n or function of n, f of n is equal to, we have three different equations. First equation, 15n or 15 times n if your n is greater than 0 but less than or equal to 10. 10n or 10 times n if the value of your n is greater than or equal to 11 but less than or equal to 30. And 8n or 8 times n if the value of your n is greater than 30. For example, you have a value of n which is 5. Alin sa tatlong equation ang gagamitin natin? Okay, correct. We will use the first equation 15n. Bakit po? Because 5, which is the value of your n, is greater than 0 but less than or equal to 10. Another one. If n is 55, we will use, okay, equation number 3, which is 8n, because 51 or n, the value of our n is 51, is greater than 30. Next, what if our n is 10? Okay, correct. We will use the first equation 15 times n or 15n because our 10, which is n, is greater than 0 but less than or equal to 10. How about if we have 29? The value of your n is 29. Okay, correct. We will use the equation 10 times n or 10n because 29 is greater than 11 or greater than or less equal to 11 but less than or equal to 30. Okay, we have here illustrative example. Let's try it into a problem. Anna is charged 2,000 pesos monthly for a mobile plan which includes an iPhone 6s Plus, unlimited same network text, 16 gigabytes data allowance monthly, and 100 text to other networks. Messages in excess of 100 are charged 1 peso each. Represent the monthly cost for text messaging using the function T of M, where M is the number of messages sent in a month. So in our given problem, we have to identify first our given variables. First, we have the value of M. We will use the variable M. So what does M denote? So M is the number of messages sent in a month. Another one, we have the function T of M. T of M is the monthly cost for text messaging. So we will use these variables for us to use a piecewise or for us to create a piecewise function for our problem. Now, if you have noticed sa ating problem, we are concerned with the messages sent in a month because there is a condition here. Sa monthly plan po na included is meron pong libreng iPhone 6s Plus, unlimited same network text, 16 gigabyte data allowance monthly, and 100 text to all networks. Kapag sumobra po ang text messages na nai-send niya sa ibang network, master charge po ng piso kada sobra sa 100. Now, we will use a function, piecewise function, para mas madali pong i-compute kung magkano babayaran for that month. For example, what if Anna sent 89 or used 89 out of 100 text messages? She only used 89 or she sent 89 messages in a month. Magkano ang babayaran niya? Another one, what if she sent 100 text messages to other networks? Another one, what if 120 text messages were sent in a month? Magkano kaya ang babayaran niya? And another one, what if 155 messages were sent to other networks? So, mas madali po ang pagsusolve ng ating problem if gagamit tayo ng piecewise function. Now, if 100 pababa, if 100 text, ang ating condition lang po, hindi dapat sumobra sa 100 yung magagamit niya pang text sa other networks. So, kapag 100 pababa o nagamit niya 199 or up to 0, ang babayaran niya pa rin ay 2,000 pesos. So, that is our first equation. So, to use that, to represent that, we have here the function T of M. Our T of M is the monthly cost for text messaging is equal to, we have our first equation, 2,000 ang babayaran niya kapag ang kanyang na-send, our M is the number of messages sent in a month, this is to other networks, is greater than 0, or M is greater than 0, or less than or equal to 100. So, hanggang from 0 to 100. 100 text messages to other networks, 2,000 pa rin yung babayaran niya. Pero kapag sumobra na siya sa 100, merong charge na piso kada sobra. So, yung sobra na yun, ibabawas natin sa 100 because 100 is the limit. That's why, example, 120. 120 ang kanyang na-send. So, 120 minus 100, that is 20. So, 2,000 plus 20 is equal to 2,020. So, this is the monthly bill that Anna will pay for that month. So, again, if ang ating M or the number of messages ay sumobra sa 100, ang gagamitin nating formula is 2,000 na monthly bill, fixed na po yan, plus yung sobra sa 100. Ibabawas natin yan sa 100. So, that is 2,000 plus M, the number of messages sent in a month. If sobra sa 100, ibabawas ang 100. So, ang sobra na yon, i-add natin sa 2,000. So, yan ang kanyang babayaran. Another one, for example, if 155 ang kanyang nagamit, so we will just subtract 100 from 55. So, 155 minus 100 is 55. Since piso lang ang charge per message, so i-add natin yan sa 2,000. So, ang babayaran niya is 2,055. So, this is the function that we will use for us to determine the monthly cost for text messaging if sumobra po ang kanyang paggamit or pag-send ng messages to other networks. Let's have another problem. Cadbury 9 chocolate bar costs 12 pesos per piece. Again, ang pangalan ng tsokolate is Cadbury 9. So, huwag tayong makakonfuse sa 9 na to. Cadbury 9 chocolate bar costs 12 pesos per piece. However, if you buy more than 20 pieces, kapag sobra sa 20 ang bibilin mo, they will be marked down to a price of 10 pesos per piece. Bawat tsokolate ay nagkakahalaga na lamang ng 10 pesos. So, we will use a piecewise function to represent the cost in terms of number of chocolate bars bought. So, in this problem, we will have first to identify the variables na gagamitin natin para makabuo ng piecewise function. But if you have noticed, there are no variables stated in the problem. So, kapag walang variable na na-specify sa problem, maaari tayong gumawa ng sarili nating variable. So, in this problem, we will use C, the letter C, which denotes the number of chocolate bars bought. So, kung ilang tsokolate ang binili. And we will use the f of C or function of C para malaman kung magkano lahat ang babayaran in terms of depende kung ilan ang tsokolating binili. Okay, so what if I will buy a piece or isang piraso ng tsokolate, magkano ang babayaran or magkano ang presyo ng tsokolate? Of course, this cost 12 pesos. But what if dadagdagan ko ng 20 pieces? All in all, may 21 pieces akong bibilhin na tsokolate. Magkano kaya ang presyo ng bawat tsokolate? So the cost, according to the problem, if you will buy more than 20 pieces, higit sa 20 peraso, nagkakahalaga na lamang ng 10 pesos per piece ang mga tsokolate. So para sa problem na to, ano kayang function ang mabubuo natin para mas madaling ma-solve natin ang cost, ang kabuang babayaran natin kapag, for example, ikaw ang nagtitinda ng tsokolate. So in this problem, we have here the piecewise function. The function of C, again, our function of C is the cost in terms of number of chocolate bars bought. Ang kabuang halaga na babayaran depende sa kung ilan piraso ng tsokolate ang binili. So we have two equations. First equation is 12 times C or 12C. C is the number of chocolate bars bought. So, kung ilang piraso ang binili, multiply sa 12 pesos. Ito ang gagamitin nating equation kapag may kondisyon. Kapag the value of your C is greater than 0 but less than or equal to 20. So, ibig sabihin, ang value ng C dapat from 1 to 20. So, kapag ang pirasong binili mo ay mula 1 hanggang 20, ibig sabihin, gagamitin mo ang equation na to. 12 times C. So, for example, if 10 pieces yung binili mo, which is less than 20, so you multiply 12 pesos by 20 and you will get the total cost na babayaran mo, which is 120. Now, if you bought more than 20 pieces, for example, 21 pieces, bumili ka ng tsokolate na 21 pieces. So, ito yung gagamitin mo. Ang bawat peraso ay nagkakahalaga lamang ng 10 pesos. So, for example, you bought 21 pieces. So, the value of your C is 21. So, 10 times 21. So, that will be the amount that you will pay for the 21 pieces of chocolate bars, which is 210 pesos. So this is the function that we will use in this problem. So let's try this. Subukan nyo makagawa or makabuo ng piecewise function using this problem. So suppose you are assigned to buy t-shirts for the sports event of the math club members. The t-shirt costs 120 pesos each. However, if you buy t-shirts more than 30 pieces, each t-shirt will cost an amount of 100 pesos each. So represent the total cost of t-shirts as a piecewise function f of x, where x is the number of t-shirts bought. So to solve this, first you're going to identify the variables na magagamit natin para makabuo ng piecewise function. So bakit piecewise function? Because iba-iba po ang value ng x at iba-iba rin ang formula na gagamitin natin for different values of x. So we will let, in our problem, x is the number of t-shirts bought, kung ilang t-shirt ang nabili, and the f of x is the function of the total cost of t-shirts. So kung magkano lahat ang babayaran, depende sa kung ilang piraso ang bibiling t-shirt. Now, for example, if you bought 28 pieces, how much will you pay for each t-shirt? Magkano kaya ang presyo ng bawat t-shirt? If you buy 45 pieces, magkano kaya ang babayaran mo or magkano kaya ang halaga ng bawat t-shirt? So, gagawa tayo or bubuo tayo ng piecewise function para malaman kung magkano ba ang babayaran natin depende sa piraso or dami ng t-shirt na bibilhin natin. So, solution, we will use this function. Our f of x, or the total cost of t-shirts bought, magkano ang babayaran mo, is equal to, meron tayong dalawang equation. First, 120x or 120 times x if your x is greater than 0 but less than or equal to 30. So, ibig sabihin, kapag ang binili mong t-shirt ay mula 1 hanggang 30, ang bawat piraso ng t-shirt, so these are the values of your x. So, ibig sabihin, the cost of each t-shirt is 120. For example, if 28 pieces, if you bought 28 pieces, you multiply 28 by 120 in order for you to get the total cost of the t-shirts bought. What if your x is greater than 30? So, sobra sa 30. So this time, makakamura ikaw because in our problem, if you buy more than 30 pieces of t-shirt, nagkakahalaga na lamang ng 100 pesos ang bawat t-shirt. So, magkano lahat ang babayaran mo? You will use this equation, 100 times x. So, if you bought 45 pieces, for example, your x is 45, simply multiply 100 by 45. So, this is the piecewise function that we will use in order for us to determine the total cost of t-shirts depending on the values of x. So, remember, kapag iba-iba ang value ng x at bawat domain or bawat x ay may kaukulang equation na gagamitin, so gagamit tayo ng piecewise function. So, let's try another one. A taxi ride costs 38 pesos as flag down rate, and each additional meter or a fraction thereof adds 8 pesos to the fare. Use a function f of d to represent the taxi fare in terms of distance d in meters. So again, the first step that we're going to do is identify the variables that we're going to use for us to make a piecewise function. So in our problem, we have d, the variable d, which represents the distance in meters. This is the distance traveled in meters. We have the function f of d, which is the taxi fare, the total cost of the taxi fare in terms of the distance traveled. Now, kadalasan po sa mga taxi, kapag pumasok ka na or nakapagpara ka na, pumasok ka, kapag sasakay ka na po, meron ka na agad babayaran na 38 pesos. So, kahit hindi pa nakaalis yung taxi na sinasakyan mo, kahit hindi pa 1 meter yung na-travel mo, meron ka nang babayaran na 38 pesos. Now, if you have traveled an additional meter, so for example, you have traveled 1 meter or 5 meters, according to our problem, each additional meter, bawat metro na na-travel mo ay may dadagdag na 8 pesos sa iyong pamasahe. So, ibig sabihin, each meter costs 8 pesos. So, what would be our piecewise function? So, solution, we have here the function f of d. F of d is the taxi fare, yung babayaran mong pamasahe in terms of the distance na iyong nabiyahe or naabot is equal to, first is 38. So, 38 lamang po if our distance is greater than or equal to 0. Bakit po meron tayong nakikitang equal to 0? Kasi po kapag, for example, sumakay ka ng taxi, hindi ka pa nakakaalis, wala pang meter, yes, hindi pa po umaalis, so wala pang metro doon. Wala pang metro na naabot. So, that is why d can be 0. So, if d is greater than or equal to 0, but less than or equal to 1, the equation is just 38. So, ibig sabihin, kapag ang distance na na-travel mo is from 0 to 1, yung babayaran lamang po is 38 pesos. Pero kapag sumobra na sa 1 meter, so if your distance is greater than 1, so ibig sabihin, our d is from 2 up to infinity, kahit mula Apari hanggang Hulu, mula Batanes hanggang Hulu, yung travel mo dyan. So, depende po sa meters na makukonsume sa travel. Like for example, 5 meters, so that is greater than 1. Ang formula na gagamitin natin is 38 plus, so 38 is fixed. This is the flag down rate. 38 plus, so 8. Since bawat metro is 8, so we will going to multiply 8 open, times the quantity of D, yung metro na travel, narating, minus 1. So, ibabawas lang lamang natin po yung 1. So, for example, if you traveled 5 meters, so that will become 5 minus 1. So, 5 minus 1 is 4. So, 4 times 8 plus 38. So, yun po ang babayaran nyo. So, if we compute this one, 8 times 4 is 32 plus 38. So, that is equal to 70. So, 70 pesos ang ating babayaran. Yan ay kapag sobra sa 1 meter ang na-travel natin na distance. Now, if you have noticed, we use the symbol, the bracket symbol. We use the bracket symbol because pwede po magamit natin or ma-travel natin is in decimal form. For example, nakarating tayo or na-consume tayo, we traveled 5 and 5. So, merong fraction form, hindi po siya whole number. So, according sa ating problem, each additional meter or a fraction thereof, kung meron man siyang sobra or fraction form, like you traveled 5.5 meters. So, ibig sabihin, ang kukunin lang natin, this symbol denotes the greatest integer. So, we will round it off. For example, if 5.5, gagawin natin siyang 6. So, because 6 is the greatest integer na malapit sa 5.5. So, just round off. Okay? So, kapag decimal pa rin, so you just take the greatest integer. So, for example, if you traveled 10.2. So, 10.2 round off natin sa 10. So, this will become your distance. So, ilalagay natin dyan, 10 minus 1 is 9 times 8 plus 30. So, that is how we use this piecewise function in our given problem. So, it's your turn to solve and make or represent function in to represent situations, real-life situations, using piecewise functions. So we have here the problem, the given problem. The Moon Communications Company offers a one-day call and text promo of 25 pesos, which includes free calls up to 25 minutes and unlimited text messaging. Calls more than 25 minutes charges 2 pesos and 50 centavos per minute. Use a piecewise function to represent the daily cost of the call and text promo in terms of M, or which is the minutes used for calls. So I hope I know you can solve this problem. So that's all, and thank you for listening.